Hello everybody and welcome to the Year 4 virtual Meet the Teacher. We apologise that we cannot be here to meet you in person, but we do hope that you find tonight's Meet the Teacher informative and helpful and that it answers any questions that you do have. Despite being unable to meet you all as we normally would at the start of the year, on the classroom door and at events such as this, we do not want that to hinder our relationships with you. So please give us a wave and shout hello on the gate and introduce yourselves, as this will help getting to know you all much easier. We've got 60 parents to get to know and there's just 2 of us. So we apologise if it does take us a little longer than usual to get to know everybody, but we're very much looking forward to working with you all. The staff in Year 4 consist of myself, Mr Pattinson working in 4P and Mrs Alcock, who will work across both 4P and 4F each morning. September for us as a school and as you for parents looks very different to usual, and we're incredibly mindful that every child's experience since March is different. Some children have been away from school since March, some children attended the flexible opening of school between March and June, and some children were fortunate enough to be able to return to school for just under a half term during June and July. School for all children, regardless of their experience, looks different, but the children will soon be accustomed to the changes and the new routines. And this is confirmed by our teaching in school during June and July, and seeing how well the children in our bubbles adapted to life in the new normal. In terms of academic lessons, school have identified the gaps that have been caused as a result of the school closures, and school have clearly identified the lost learning and how this fits into the current academic year. In order to address this, core lessons will be prioritised. However, the children will still receive a very broad and very wide curriculum, although there will be an increase in the number of English and Maths lessons in order to address the lost learning. However, children will still receive 2 PE lessons, a music lesson, a French lesson, a lunar lesson which consists of geography or history focus, science, RE and a computing input each week. As we are prioritising mental health and well-being and transition back to school due to the unprecedented times that we have found ourselves in, discrete PHSE lessons have been planned twice a week in order to support the children's return to school and to ensure that they are able to discuss their feelings and emotions.
In terms of homeschool communication, amendments have been made to how this would usually take place. However, we will be using all the above methods to communicate with you. One of our most important forms of communication is our weekly newsletter and website. We cannot stress the importance of reading this newsletter each week. It is emailed out on a Friday evening. Please speak to the office if you are not receiving this and they can add you to the mailing list. As well, regular visits to the website also reiterate key messages. Furthermore, lots of learning and updates, pictures of the children's work are placed on our school Twitter and our school Facebook group. A key message that we want to reiterate to you is also in relation to the specific start and end times that you are to use for the children in Year 4 and the gate that is to be used. 4P, our gate is front gate 2, and 4F's gate is the back gate. Both classes start at 8:50 and finish at 3:15. Please ensure that you are prompt with these times, as we have the tight 4-minute window to get 60 children into class and 60 children out of class, and it's important that we are always on time. Looking at attendance now. If your child is to be absent, please follow the above procedure of phoning school on the first day of their absence. If your child has an appointment, please send in a photo of the appointment letter to the school email address. Holidays during term time are unauthorised. Now, Mrs Martin is going to be our new family support worker. Many of you will be familiar with Mrs Martin already, as she started with us back in June. We are really glad to have her as part of the school team. Again, just a reminder regarding punctuality, which more than ever now is vitally important. Please ensure your child arrives to school on time, and the gate for 4P is the front gate 2, the gate for 4F is the back gate. Both classes start at 8:50 and finish at 3:15. Late arrivals will sign in at the office and be escorted to class by a designated member of staff.
Okay, some reminders in terms of uniform, and firstly, it's been lovely to see the children returning to school in their full and correct uniform. They all look very smart, and that is brilliant to see. So no jewellery, including earrings. Hair accessories should be kept to a minimum and in school colours only, and no trainers, it is black school shoes. In terms of a school book bag, we do need that to be the school book bag only and not a rucksack or any alternative bag, and that is simply due to the very limited space that we have in the school cloakrooms. On the day or days that children in Year 4 have PE, they should wear the full and correct PE kit, and that day will primarily be a Thursday for Year 4 children, with both PE lessons taking place on a Thursday. However, if the weather is unfortunate and that we cannot get out, our reserve day for PE is a Tuesday, so the children are welcome into school on a Tuesday in their PE kit as well. However, we do try to get out in all weathers.
St Anne's is a healthy school and we offer toast to children for £1 a day. Alternatively, children can bring in a piece of fruit, veg or toast from home, and they are also able to bring in a bottle of water. It must be named and the bottle must be clear.
Homework. So there is various forms of homework that the children will need to complete this year, which is a little bit different to usual. The first form of homework is daily reading, and it is very important that the children are reading 5 out of 7 nights a week. And how they will read will again vary this year. So from Monday to night through to Thursday night, that will be their reading book, which goes home in the clear plastic bag and comes back into school in that same clear plastic bag. And then a Friday night, a Saturday and a Sunday, children will use Book Club to read. And this allows us to ensure that the reading books can be appropriately cleaned due to coronavirus procedures. Spellings will be online via Spelling Shed, and children will be tested out of 12 out of 15 words from their spelling list. 3 common exception words and 2 mystery words, which are words taken from previous week's spellings. In terms of maths homework, times tables rock stars, and we encourage this every single night if possible. It's vital that the children know their times tables quickly and are able to recall these instantly, and that really helps their maths work. One of the biggest barriers in maths is children's times tables knowledge, so we do encourage that use of that resource as much as we can really. Also at the end of Year 4 there is a statutory times tables assessment that the children have to complete, and that takes place in around June time. So it is important that they're regularly rehearsing that online, because that is how the test will take place as well, so it gets the children more familiar with that procedure. Purple Mash will have weekly computing homework, which will be given to the children via a quick input for 15 minutes each week, so that they're clear on what to do, and it'll be something that they're able to access at home via Purple Mash. And once a term there will be a piece of science homework as well, ensuring that broad and balanced curriculum. In terms of reading, our reading reward system still applies. So each week we encourage the children to read 5 out of 7 days. If they read successfully 5 out of 7 nights, for 10 weeks they achieve their bronze award, for 20 weeks it's their silver award, and for 30 weeks it's their gold award. And this year there are 35 weeks whereby the children can earn a stamp for their reading. They will use their paper book on a Monday through to a Thursday night, and then Book Club Friday, Saturday and Sunday. In terms of the home school diary, the children's diaries will be stamped as in previous years, and lost and damaged books will be £4 for a replacement. So as mentioned, any child who reads for 5 nights out of 7 each week will receive a reading stamp, with 10 stamps earning the child their bronze certificate, 20 stamps earning them their silver certificate and a voucher, and with 30 stamps earning them their gold certificate and a £5 book voucher. Children in Key Stage 2 who are below age-related expectation will also be listened to at least once weekly read aloud. When we mark off diaries at school, what we will do is we will tick our own paperwork to say that a child has read if they have read, and we will record NR if the diary has not been signed. And this is a reminder simply for ourselves that when we are giving stamps at the end of the week, that there may have been a night or two when a child hasn't read. And we understand that on occasion parents simply forget to sign the diary, and if this is the case, please just write a message in the diary so that we can ensure that our records are rectified.
Our Lunar Curriculum in Year 4 is as follows. In the autumn term, we're looking at the Romans, building upon our learning from Year 3. In spring, we move on to monarchs, looking at the Battle of Hastings, William the Conqueror, Magna Carta, and Henry VIII. Finally, in the summer, we move on to coasts, looking at famous coastlines, erosion, and developing our geography skills.
Okay, I'm now going to talk about assessment in our school and how we measure children's progress and attainment. The expectation is that all children by the end of the year will be working at the expected standard for their year group. So for the children in year 4, we expect them that by the end of year 4 they will be a 4E or a 4 expected. However, there may be some children who will be working at a greater depth standard within that expected standard, whereby we would refer to them as 4 greater depth or 4 GD. In order to work to that standard, children will start off as a 4 working towards, then move to a 4 developing, then a 4 expected, and then a 4 greater depth. And in order to ensure that your child is making expected progress, we classify that as making 3 sub-stages within a year. The table here highlights the age-related expectations at various points in the year. So for year 4 and the first assessment period, we would expect children to be a 4 working towards. In the second assessment period, we would expect them to be a 4D, 4 developing, and in the third assessment period in summer, we would expect them to be a 4 expected. There are 3 assessment periods each year which take place in autumn, spring and summer, whereby children will undertake assessments in reading, writing, maths, grammar and punctuation, spelling and in times tables. Last week, the week beginning the 14th of September, we had an informal assessment week whereby teachers administered tests to the children in their year groups to allow us to see where they are based on the school closures and children's absences from school. Following each assessment week, teachers analyse test papers very carefully and look at the progress that each child has made, their current attainment, so looking at whether they are a 4 working towards, a 4 developing, a 4 expected. The assessments also highly inform our planning. We look at gaps in learning for individual children and for children as a whole class, and making sure that those gaps are planned into our teaching for the following week, half term. We set targets for the children and we often rebook-ban the children based on their reading assessments as well. All of this information is shared with you at Mentoring Conversations.
The mentoring file. As with Year 3, each child will have their own personalised people profile as they continue on through Year 4. It has a term front cover and it contains all the tests, targets and record of achievement from the previous year groups. We'll be continuing to add to this as the children progress through Year 4. Reporting to parents and carers. This will occur twice a year via the children's people profiles, once at Mentoring Conversations and again following Assessment Week. It will contain your child's previous attainment data as well as a look at their current attainment and progress data. We also have the end of year reports. This will contain details of your child's attainment for the year as well as their effort and a comment from each individual subject. Finally, it contains a comment from the class teacher, the child, head teacher, as well as our deputy and assistant head teacher. The final people profile is the end of year report that goes out in July. Okay, moving on to mentoring conversations. You'll be invited to these 3 times a year and they're based around the people profile. The mentoring conversations will take place with or without the parent or carer. An adult in place of the parent and carer may attend, and parents will be invited to attend all mentoring conversations throughout the academic year. Just to add that further correspondence to how these will run, given the current situation, will be confirmed nearer the time. The
homeschool diary can be used as communication between home and school. However, due to the current situation, staff will be unable to write back in the diaries. However, you can write messages to staff using the homeschool diary. In there's lots of prompts and homework support. There are comment boxes where they have symbols for you to circle whether your child has accessed resources such as Spelling Shared and Times Tables Rockstars. New this year, there's also a journal section where the children can doodle and journal their thoughts. It has lots of invaluable information about our day-to-day practices and whole school initiatives, and there also is a homeschool agreement in light of the COVID-19 changes. In terms of consent forms, can you please sign the consent forms and leave them in your child's diary? There's no need to rip them off and return to school.
Okay, looking at our extracurricular clubs for the year. Letters about pay clubs are going to be sent via email this time, and you'll sign up to these via Parent Pay on a first-come, first-served basis. These clubs are all non-refundable. Letters about school-led clubs will also be sent via email, and you'll sign up to these via a survey. If your child does not secure a place, you will be informed. Otherwise, if you don't hear from school, you can be sure your child does have a place. To add, school reserves the right to withdraw the place if your child fails to comply with our relationships and behaviour policy, or if your child does not attend on 2 consecutive occasions. Children who require medical apparatus must take their medical equipment from class to the club each time. And if a child is not collected from the club after 15 minutes, they'll be placed in base, and parents and carers will be charged for this. Super leaders. Given the current situation, super leaders can't continue as normal this year. Instead, each class will be its own super leaders team. It will take place on the 19th of November, March 19th, and the 18th of June. We meet 3 times a year to make a difference to our whole school community. As always, we're looking forward to it.
Myself and Mr. Pattinson would both like to thank you for virtually attending our Meet the Teacher. If you do have any questions, comments, any concerns, please do email us using the school email or write a note in your child's reading diary, and we will endeavour to get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you.